Had to check the indoors out for a second, grab some ice cubes. I'm Zen for anybody that's new here. And let's talk about creation in general, content, the quality of it. Maybe something like what is art? That classic question. Which I like a lot. And the comedian was asked about it the other day. It's kind of the idea of it's the butterfly effect. Everything we do leads into the next thing. Is it necessarily artistic that I'd be sitting by myself? Like if I wasn't on here, right? If I call this an art, if you want to, whatever. But if I'm just sitting here doing nothing, is that art? I wouldn't suppose so. Does it encourage my methods, my mind, does it encourage my art? Sure, I suppose. But I think it was Dave Letterman interviewing who the hell was it? I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Anyways, he just said he said, do you consider stand-up comedy an art? And he goes, man, he's like, whenever I'm off stage and I hear one of the comedians see somebody go to the bathroom and they say, is that a number one or number two? Is that art? It was Sam Morrell. Yeah, high quality content there. So this whole idea of what is art, and there's people out here like content creators. Like, what content creation is? McDonald's is creating content. Would you call that food? I mean, do I eat McDonald's every once in a while? Sure. Do I do I eat things that of course there's got to be a gray area, and there's got to be shit that isn't. I mean, okay, is a let's think of something. Is a unicycle food? Can you eat it? You can eat it, but to give nutrition, is it good for you? No. Same in McDonald's, right? But you could equally say, if you want to play subjective reality, is it edible? Is it nutritious? Is it food? A bicycle? You probably don't want to eat any of that. The rubber, the metal, the whole thing, plastic. You probably don't want to eat it. So in the same way, you'd say something, is that art? I think in the same way, is a bicycle. My answer would be, is a bicycle food? If you think you want to play the subjective reality game and call everything creative content and art, then yeah, go for it. But in reality, what would you really consume? If you had your druthers, and you could either eat McDonald's for the rest of your life or never eat it again, or just simply, if everything was the same price across the board, you'd have to have something, I think, mentally wrong with you to ever consider going to McDonald's or Taco Bell ever. Like, if you could have what you wanted, you would never choose that. So in the same way, there's things you would choose that are not quite food, not quite art. And there's what I find is, this is kind of a part two to the last talk we were doing, like how much of the internet is even worth being there. How many books could just be burnt because they're garbage? Like the science is awful, or the writing is just trash, or a story has been told a billion times and it's told in a terrible way. I don't know. You can get rid of quite a bit of books, quite a bit of them. You get rid of quite a bit of the internet, quite a bit of these content creators. But yet it's so funny. Like, there's so much trash out there, and somehow they're making a living at just like. I mean, are people so confused and weird and strange and deluded that they'd more happily, readily ingest trash? Like these chicks out here selling their panties and their sweat for hundreds of $1,000s. Like, what really has to be wrong with you as a human to have, first of all, have enough money to do it, which is so crazy, and then want to pay for that? I mean, weird world, huh? So what's up, everybody? What are we doing? what I do need. I need to clip my nails. That's what I need to do. Nail clippers. You ever get anybody have that? You get you know, so you get fixated on something. You're like, I can't do anything about this now, so I'm just gonna pick at it. I'm not one of those people, but right now, like, I do have like a funky little toenail that I want to cut. And I think I know why, because I had a dream that I was wearing a pair of socks and I put a hole in it, and I think it's because of this little nail that I have here. Let me get this little bastard. Got him. Get him out of here. Anyways, what are we talking about? Quality content creation, artwork. What is art? And I mean, we get into the whole concept of nihilism, or a nil-sum game, and like, what value does anything really have? Yeah, I guess value is in what someone would pay for something. Yeah, that's, I guess, trade energies. See, the interesting thing about money as it's used today, and because it's become a very troubling resource, the way the economy is run, there's no equal trade, no equal barter for energy. There's plenty of people that do not expend mental, physical, or otherwise energy that have a lot. So their perception of the things that they can purchase and buy are so far out of line with what in the real world they're worth. So people that have things that actually have intrinsic value on this realm, oftentimes what they have is to anybody not worth much. But then you have these people that are so confused and deranged because their ability to put capital, money, energy into things, they put into these most obscene things. Like, even if I was a billionaire, would I buy a chick's bathwater? Are you serious? Would I buy someone's panties that they just farted in? Like, what's wrong with people? But yet we live in a society where that is what comes out of what is called usury. It's inflation, which is fake. It's all made up, but it applies. Income tax, which is insane, and interest. It's all in the terms of the three I's in usury. Sure, if you let somebody borrow something, they should give it back to you with, spit shined, nice and clean, and at least as good as it got to you, right? So I guess you can say, well, if I give you $1, in the future, if you happen to somehow come up on a little extra change, you can give it to me. But the rest of it, I don't know. It's the world as seen through the eyes of perceived value versus. This is a talk I've done 100 times for you guys, but I don't know who's here, who's new. It's perceived value versus actual value. Go into a museum. Go look at all the paintings. They have a perceived value of millions and millions of dollars. Can you eat it? Can you feed it into can you put that into a car, make it move? Does it have any actual value, other than somebody made it a long time ago and then we all said, oh, we agree on that's what it's worth. I mean, it's not worth that to me. How do we live in a world of so much perceived value that actual value has gone out the window? If you didn't have, if it was closer to a barter trade system, artwork would be much different than it is. It would still be held on Mount High. Art and music would be, because of the investment and energy that you put into it and what joy people get out of it. But the run-of-the-mill stuff, if things were valued on this earth If we could just say, okay, a dollar's worth $1, and here's what it is, and here's an hour worth of my energy is worth $1. Let's say that. Let's just make a simple math here. Then someone else's hour worth of energy will be worth $1. And if they put in 10 years of mastering that craft, so it took them, half the time, then it took them 30 minutes to do that job, then they should be paid double for it, correct? But if we got into a world that actual value of things, man, imagine the things that you purchase now and what you would actually get, and what things really cost, what kind of investments made, what kind of energy is involved in creating something. Like, for instance, my actual value is encompassed in what I've done for the past, you could say 43 years of my life, but that I've really made a hard, look at and trying to comprehend and understanding how nutrition, reality, blah, 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 all this shit functions. I put a lot of time, a lot of effort into it. So actual value would be quite a bit. Not worth, like, somebody that's 20 that put 15 minutes of work in, do they have an actual value of what I do? No, absolutely not. But it would be closer to reality than somebody that has 100 people enslaved to a paycheck from 9 to 5 to make some automobile that's worth $100,000. Well, why is it worth $100,000? Because it looks fancier, because I marketed it more. Like when people market something and they make it all shiny and happy and shit. Like, think about the things that you see on TV, the TV shows, just fine. Then you look at the product placement, you look at the marketing, and look at the budget that goes into that, to giving an aura, a feeling that when people buy something, they'll be cooler, they'll fit in, they'll be right. And that marketing budget, all of that goes into it. They got people buying turds, thinking they're holding on to fucking diamonds, and then people that are holding on to things that have value, crystals and whatever, they may, that's not doing anything. It's like it's opposite land, yeah. I'm gonna start selling my asshole sweat to people. Might as well. I'd make more money. I'd have less struggles in my life. I'd have less struggles in my life if y'all bought my shit. How's that? See, now you guys donate and invest into my intelligence, but I can be funnier. I can be more ruthless. I can be more absurd. I got plenty of shit jokes. Uh-oh. Who's coming over here? Hopefully my so I'm near where my friends, the Ducks, Hip Hop and Anonymous, and the rest of them, they hang out over here, but I'm far enough where they don't normally see me here. So hopefully you don't think I have food, because I didn't bring them any food today. I'm kind of stalking them from a distance. Not really. I needed a tree, and this seemed delightful. So hello again to everybody that's new here. Feel free to say hello. If you need any help with anything, it's in the description box. You can hit me up on my email. TheoLuminous, THEO means God, LUMINOUS means light, @gmail. You hit me up there. So if you have any problems you don't want to talk about on here, you can hit me up there for it. And if you want to, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, you can make an investment. You can donate to me. Oh, you could also, if you missed it and then you didn't know, it was my birthday just recently, a couple days ago. Well, a few, quadruple, 4 days ago, I guess. Yeah. And if you didn't give me a gift, feel free. You can do that. What else? It is absolutely outstanding when you have a little bit of breeze in the shade and it's like 93 degrees out. Good weather. I don't know how many people here. I've had this conversation many times with people, and I still don't. And it's always Caucasian, unmelanated people that cling to thinking that the seasons are cool, and that the winter weather and the Caucasus Mountains are a good thing. except for the story goes that people were sent to the Caucasus Mountains because they were the evil spirited ones, which took away their melanin from their skin, basically. And if you really think about it, the birthing of anything happens in what? A warm, wet womb. It doesn't happen in the cold. Things die in the cold. So the idea that anybody wants to be in the cold is insane to me. I get it that when it's super hot, an air conditioner, blocks of ice, lots of fun, comfortable, soothing, good. But to live in such a climate that requires you to basically be indoor to put fucking 50 layers of clothes, you weren't born with 50 layers of clothes. You should be as close to naked as possible most of the day. I mean, it's just the way it should be. You should be closer to that. I mean, is any animal out here going, hey, can you knit me a sweater? Can you do something about this? Because the sun isn't good enough. The sun isn't providing all of the energy for the world. But yeah, people are like, no, I'm going to go to where it's cold. And food doesn't grow. And I'm going to have to start a fire. I'm going to have to build this. I'm going to have to build all this shit and I'm going to have to construct clothing that's going to be like 20 layers deep. I don't get it. And it's shown to you that the birthing channel, the birthing of reality, the birthing of anything is heat. It's warmth that causes things. A mother is warm. A bosom is comfortable, warm. It's not cold. A cold, dark, like what would the word for it be? Like nothing. It doesn't even need to be explained because it's explicit. The reality shows you that. The signs of nature, the signatures, the signs of nature. Go to places. It's called it's a barren wasteland. It was that Sam Kinison joke. And funny enough, that's a second Sam I used today. Sam Kinison, he said, you want to know how to stop world hunger? Instead of going and bringing these people in the deserts food, bring them U-Hauls. And then tell them to get in the fucking U-Haul, and then he starts screaming, go to where the food is. I'm not going to do the joke well because I don't feel like screaming in the park right now. But go to where the food is. There's no food. It's desert. It's a barren wasteland. Why are you trying to live there? There's no food there. Stop. Go to where it's cold. You can see by the signs of nature that there are no peaches, there are no apples, there are no grapefruits, there are no plums, there's no persimmons, there's no artichokes, there's no greenery, there's nothing, there's no color. It's death, it's decay, it's free. There's an absolute zero. It's frozen. Nothing functions. It doesn't allow for life to exist. And people still want to go, but I like the seasons. Yeah, I also like for my bones to fucking chill and not be able to move and be arthritic. I mean, why do you think these people from the north fly south for the winter? At least they figured out it's too cold for them up there. Old people. Why? Because it's more comfortable for them. Why? Because the sun is here. What up, geese? Wop wop. Do you think rabbits get along with these things? Probably not, huh? Where would they live? Is it too hot? I don't know. Do rabbits have a climate? Do they get along with certain species? I mean, I guess if you raised them all from birth, they wouldn't even recognize that they're not the same species, and they would all get along. But I don't think you could just bring rabbits up there. I don't think. Who knows? Well, welcome to all of you people. This is me ramble on about sunshine, about nutrition, the Luxor in the sky. What else? Anything? Talk about some coffee. Let's get Zen-Zooted. You guys will be happy to know I was offered quite a bit of cocaine over my birthday weekend. I said no to all of it. Not that it ever was a thing for me. I just thought you guys should know. So if anybody does have any problems with drugs or alcohol, it's easy to say no. You just don't do it. I was like, nope, can't do it right now. That's gonna be a whole fucking 4 hours of insanity. I did, however, smoke enough reefer and drink enough alcohol for a small village, but what up, Quacks? What a goose. Yeah? You guys familiar with bioacoustic resonances? And how animals will fill up sound frequencies within spaces? Let me give you an example. If someone comes into a forest with a chainsaw, the sound of the chainsaw immediately will start to change the behaviors of all the animals and what's going on and how what's living there. Screws up all the flora and the fauna. Now, as soon as they start cutting the trees down, certain species won't live there anymore. They'll move. They'll move. And the sound that they make is so important to the space that after that certain animal isn't there anymore, the rest of the animals will change the pitches that they're using in their calls and how they're making noises to fill up for that lack of organization within that octave. They're filling up a key or a note within that space to harmonize the landscape, even though they've cut down trees or gotten rid of animals. Yeah, cool shit, huh? Bioacoustic resonance, and whose original work was that, mostly? I forget who that was. Well, welcome back to whoever's here. I don't know if anybody said anything. It's got a little glare on the screen, but what else? What else should we talk about? What do I spy with my little eye? I mean, if you think of things like an orchestra, that's kind of how they work within the space. If somebody doesn't show up, you gotta adjust what you're playing. You're missing a section of horns, you gotta make up for it with the rest of the brass. Colin, yeah, you were asking me that one. Yes, I do. To me, it's something to do with the blue red shift and the plasma thing, and what happens if they reverse magnetics. I mean, if they know this is coming, they expect it, and they're just playing out like, who cares? It's fucking end game. Money doesn't matter. Build the shit. It's all gonna go to shit anyways for them. You know what I'm saying? Like from that standpoint, because they already can tell. As we kind of got into maybe maybe last week got this a little bit, but everybody can notice the sun is changing color. I mean, we've been talking about this for years. It went from yellow. It was clearly yellow. Now the sun is bright white, and the moon went from a bluish, orangish, yellow, comfortable hue to bright white as well. So if we shift from the sun going from used to be red years ago, then into oranges and then yellows. The older you are, the more you're going to remember the sun being orange to yellow. And definitely yellow. Everyone I know that is, they're like, the sun's yellow. I was like, well, what color is it now? They're like, it's not yellow anymore. It's white. It's not even, it's obvious as day. It's obvious when you drew it when you were in your classroom. So as we go through the densities, whether it's the sun itself or the flipping or reversal of the magnetic poles, meaning the magnet goes where electricity and electricity goes where the magnet is, and we're flipping the ground basically. You're reversing the arc of energy. Or if it has to do with the density of the gases within the realm, or a combination. That way, unless they know what they're doing in some crazy level, that would pretty much destroy the computing systems. Or, as I've suggested, they've already firewalled cities off, where if this event is about to occur, they firewall the city. They'd shut the city down. And then then afterwards, they go through and basically, invert the wiring and do this and whatever the hell needs to be done. Maybe they're just like, we don't know exactly, but we'll figure it out afterwards. But they will just not let the infrastructure of the computing systems, the big cities, to get fried. So that was my thought on those big cities where you see in Japan and wherever else. They go like, there's these cities that they built and no one lives in them. I'm like, but they didn't build the cities for people living then. Maybe you just don't understand. They were building the cities, and then they put a whole firewall around it, and nothing is turned on, no electricity, but they've already wired, the whole thing is sitting there. So if the whole yeah, what's up, Matthew? Yeah, that's what I see. I mean, if you just pay attention to the sun and the moon, pay attention to the skies and what's going on, and how hot is it in different places and what's going on. I'm not talking about warming this or that, or just look at it's very obvious to your own eyes. The sun is changing, and if you think it's 93 million miles away and the moon is, then that's your dilemma to deal with. But if you know that it's in an enclosed very local system, and if you're changing the system and what's going on, and if you understand the framework beneath us on the ground was built as more of a motherboard of a computer, if we understand these things, and we start to go, okay, what happens if we take, and I flip the AC, and I gotta flip it through direct current for a second. I shut it off, and then we're gonna flip it over, and the power supply is gonna be inverted, and the colors are gonna change, and the spectrum of it. Then you would deal with the whatever. Because to me, it would seem like you would just it would be like mixing a pot of things. You'd stir up something, and the density. It's like as you go up a mountain, you can't breathe because there's less apparently oxygen, and there's different gases. If we change the density of this realm, like what's going on, we change the octaves of where gases are. It would change the way the lights look. The frequency of the colored lights we see are reflecting through all of the gases in the sky. If we change where the gases are, that changes essentially the plasma. They change it, the gas and plasma are, they're connected. And it would change the way the electrical magnetic frequency is spit out, which means it's going to change whatever's happening in here. So whatever networks you're using, the frequencies and the amperage changes. So all of those things that are in buildings now, they'll change. They could get blowed out, or maybe there's not enough amperage. Maybe it gets flipped over. So yeah, that seems highly plausible. Colin, do I believe it's in our lifetime? Without a question. It doesn't. There's no way they can't let this shit show ride out for another 50 or 60 years. No way. No, it would. Society would already have turned. They would have fully turned society into robots. They would have fully turned us into zombies. There would be no living souls left. It'd be done. It can't go that far. There's got to be some. There's got to be a larger clock at hand. You've watched too many things happen too quickly. You've watched time speed up. You've watched. It's too apparent. Like, think of it this way: how many more movies could they make about anything? There's nothing new. There's no new movies. There's no new way to play with. There's basically 9 standard stories that you can tell, and then we can work within that. Like, okay, you got the hero story, you got the save the girl story, you got the comedy one with this. There's only a certain number of those things, only a certain way of playing those things out. How many more movies could people watch? Like, at this point, most people are going backwards and going, was there any movies done in the 1930s, 1940s, that aren't already redone? There's really nothing. There's nothing else to do. They've shown us the whole game. So what is it? So where does it go next? Does everybody become a silicon robot? And if so, at what point? Is that the immortality people want? Like that whole Westworld thing. That whole. There's so many movies about that, right? What's the really good one with Altered Carbon? Go watch that one. Is that the world we go to? Who knows? The world already ended. I mean, I guess. Explain that to me a little more. What you mean by that? Because there is the 2012, and there's also the 2020, and there's the enigmas of certain things that occurred. When I say enigmas, I mean like moments that are like, oh, did something changed in our reality? But I mean, it seems to have ended in the sense that now everyone is just an actor. There aren't any creators or reactors out there. Everyone is. I mean, what is everyone doing? Like, who's running the United States? You think those people are? That's all green screen bullshit. Like, who are those people? Could you imagine? How could you allow someone like, whenever you see these people on the news, they're like the representative for Chicago or New York or whatever, or the certain countries. I mean, I get it that they were always actors anyways, but they did some governing to some degree. So like, what? It's just everyone's an actor. It's just a whole who's in charge here? There's no one steering the ship. Is that it? Oh, also, thanks for the ducats, man. Colin. That was you, yeah. Thank you for the dollars, man. That's gonna get me a snack in a second. I think I've changed my mind about eating today. I think should I get Domino's? It's all half price through the weekend, man. So I get a fat ass pie with double mushrooms on it for $6. Could be the move, man. Could be the move. Oh, Matthew, the board melted down. Well, yeah, that definitely happened, but we have electricity. We have they've rebuilt parts of the system. You know what I'm saying? So like, we look at it from the old school mud floods, the ancient giant buildings that had capstones, capacitors. They had. I mean, I get that. We get how that works, and maybe that system failed, but we definitely built something else. So, I mean, granted, the entire system melted down, but now it seems like they've repopulated the system. I mean, I've always said it this way: it's easy to tell where and how it melted. Look at the trees. I'll say I've made 100 videos on this. In fact, I probably made 10 because when I say it, I just really, I need to impress upon people. Go ask yourself, how old are the trees in your area? How old? How big are they? And how old do you think the earth is? These things don't just stop growing unless something caused them to. They don't go, oh, these trees grow to 150 years old. No, it's because they got burnt down, melted down, reset, whatever. But if I go somewhere, some places, there's the ancient mother trees, there's the Silica Valley, these giant redwoods, etc., etc. You can go anywhere in the world, you'll find some, but most trees are going to be held. So it means whenever those trees, and if we look at most of the trees, so if we burn down the computer system, and on top of it, there's all of these trees that are connected through their silica roots or their carbon roots. Either way, they're going to get burnt down if enough power goes through it. So we melt all that down, turn some of it to the beaches, some of it to deserts, which were the silica trees that got cut down with chainsaws, blah, blah, blah. Or we melt it down and it becomes, right? So the whole thing got repopulated, reset, whenever they planted these trees again. That's how. Well, yeah, that thing was always, the story was that somehow something came through a portal in the moon. Like, I've always thought the moon was a succubus and it got parked there later in life, but maybe the energies as a succubus was here to clean up the realm. But here's the thing, remember this. If you have an infection, if you have bacteria, if you have something in, like, what do you need to clean it up? You need a cleanup party. And that tends to be parasites. Hi, quackies. That tends to be parasitic or worms or something. They'll eat it up for you. Now, once they eat everything up, you stop feeding them and they go away. It's pretty simple, just like your body. So it seems like we're kind of near that in a lot of ways. But yeah, the overabundance of parasitic energy in this realm, it appears to me that was due to a cleanup crew. Like, think about it. You don't send the most intelligent, highest quality people in to clean up a job site. You got a job site that needs cleaned up. Who do you call? Dumb motherfuckers. It's just what it is. Those not PhDs running around in there. Those are people that are going to drink on the job, fuck around, do whatever, and have good people, whatever. I don't know, but equivalent to parasitic activity. So they're cleaning up. They clean things up, and as soon as they're out of work, they have nowhere else to go. So they dip. I mean, they have nothing else to do, so they dip. They're done. They can't eat this. They can't do that. They can't. They're extinguished. The job is done. If you stop putting things into your body that the parasites will consume off of, they will die, or you'll shit them out, and you can kill them. We've gone through this many times. You can use turpentine. You can use heavy doses of all sorts of different ingestible chemical substances, lots of herbs, a lot of bitter things that will kill that. Now, if you do that too early, then your body will get overrun with whatever bacteria is in your system. If, on the other hand, you just keep feeding these bacteria, then the population of parasites will grow. It's pretty simple math. Hey, quack quacks. Across the board, if you want to get rid of, across the board, if everyone understood this, if you knew how to I'm going to go ahead and give you all of the oregano, all of the turpentine, all of the lemon juice, all the distilled water, just the things you need. And you're going to go ahead and just consume that, sit in the toilet for a few days, clean yourself up a bunch of water, and then fast. Not only is your body going to be healed, but all the stores that you're not shopping at, prices will go down. Because if they don't, they just have to throw the garbage. They just have to throw everything out in the cash. You see stores doing this now, and they don't like to give food away. Well, you know what they'll do? They'll have to stay in business, so they're not just going to throw everything out. They'd have to lower prices. If you ate less, food would cost less. Because there'd be an overabundance. If you stop being, like, if people en masse, even though you can't, how do you talk to the masses? If you stop being fat shits, sorry to break it to you, just consume less, prices go down. It's really simple. Because then there's an overabundance and a flux in the market of how much they have and then how much you need. If everybody has cut their diet in half, like, I mean, how much do we waste? People just throwing shit out, food-wise and otherwise. If you took what you needed and ate what was enough, cleaned yourself, you would need to eat less, you wouldn't want to eat more, and then everything by proxy, everything that is connected to food is going to be lowered in price. It has to be. And that means that things that are connected to food, the jobs people are doing, people will be able to get their jobs done quicker because they're going to be eating less. They'll have more energy. There's so many reasons. If people just would fast, clean themselves out, and if you eat less, the whole cost of being alive is way less. I'm not just talking, again, and to reiterate this, it's not just because you're spending less money on food. It's because collectively, if everyone needs less food, then then we're getting back to the actual value. Then they can't possibly, if they're trying this whole game where they're gonna try to starve people and try to make people all like upset that they can't eat and price gouging everybody and having to throw food out and having burned down, this and that. Well, it wouldn't work, and it couldn't happen because we'd be like, well, so what? We don't need it, and they'd be like, oops, and they would just oopsie themselves because they just shot themselves in the foot. Because then if people were like, well, we don't actually need to eat that. We don't want your GMO shit anyways. We don't want that anyways. Yeah, good shit, man. How much did you use? You said aged. Was it straight aged, or did you mix the aged with urine or with yeah? Did you mix the aged with fresh? Because the aged stuff that I have, it's too potent. I need to mix it down. But yeah, man. I mean, you're putting in high level pH, and that's mix it with something. You can watch it happen outside of the body. You put an acid or an alkaline onto certain substances, and it's going to break it apart for you. So I mean, imagine all the weird shit you're getting on your body. Yeah, man. I've done not enema, but I did after a really, really long fast. I did the colonic, and even after, I was like, there should be no waste product coming out of my body. Nope. 43 days into a fast on water, not 8-day thing. I do a colonic. So the colonic on before I started, and then at the end, and even the last day, still things came out. Profound. But yeah, but coffee and urine to me, two best you could do. Dilute it with distilled. Yeah, I find it works best with fresh, but if that's what you got. And if you got those pH strips, that's a good notation, you know what I mean? Get those cheap pH strips, and then see what the pH is before sticking it up your butthole, you know. And then you can kind of gauge, how warm it is, right? If it's not correct, if it's too much, or then you can add a little bit and see what you can get up to. See what kind of weird shit you can get out of you. Maybe you got a fucking snake in you, man. Quack, quack. Wobble, wobbles. Hi, Bob. Hi, guys. What you doing? Somebody sent me these really funny videos of people taking animals that don't have arms, like ducks, and I remember what else was on there, but it was like mainly ducks, and put arms on them, and they have conversations and do things with their arms and like talk like Italians. It's pretty funny. Oh, you just taste it first? Yeah, I got you. Yeah, a good whiff of it will let you know. Oh man, it's Wednesday, huh? The museum's open today, and I don't know if they changed over the so normally that they do an upstairs thing with like one major exhibit, and they just had Nefertari, not Nefertiti, Nefertari, and that was a really awesome exhibit, and I know it was supposed to end this month, so they might have already redone it. The only thing that sucks about really hot days, ice, man. Melty ice, and it gotta stick to warm drinks. I gotta stay in direct line with someone that has ice. Come on, who really likes a warm drink on a warm day? That's one of my friends who's like super super Hispanic. She's like, she loved warm beer. She preferred warm beer. I'm like, dude, it's like 90 something out, and she wanted a warm Tecate. I was like, I guess. I mean, I got used to it drinking with her, but like, wow, it's like I need cold. Need the cold beer. See, that's what I'm saying. What did I break my fat with? Which time? I mean. The longest one I did, I broke with. The first thing I had was I made a strawberry, pineapple, coconut, mango juice thing, like fresh squeezed. Oh, and watermelon. That shit was fucking. Like you take a sip of it and you literally blast off to another realm. It's pretty crazy. And then I did another 2 days on veggie broth that I made, because I made like a veggie stew, so I did veggie broth, and then all the mushy vegetables on the third day. And then I'm an asshole, so I went. I was like, oh, I'm good, I can handle it. And I went to an Italian restaurant with a buddy of mine, and I ate way too much pasta, and I slept for like 16 hours afterwards. Yeah. Hey, so check it. Let me go run over to this little coffee shop, find some ice, and find a new location. I think I'm going to go into the park, go into the outdoor gallery of sculpture garden. So as per usual, everybody here, thanks for showing up. Hope you guys had fun on this little adventure about things. You can feel free, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. If you missed my birthday, feel free to, feel like you're allowed to be shareable wave of energies if you want to. TSAR capital XEN. That's how you can get at me on the PayPal and the Cash App. And the Venmo, I think it's my name, Zen-Atman-1. You'll see. Yeah, and as per usual, let me remind you, I might come back in a little bit, do a part 3 of this. We'll see where my head goes. As a reminder, always take care of yourself, because you are the most important person in your journey. So be awesome, enjoy yourself, and when your cup overfloweth with knowledge or wisdom or money or whatever the hell it is, share with people that are in need. And also stay goofy, be weird, and enjoy your day. I'm ass out of here. Good to see everybody. Bye. Good to see you, Matthew. Good to see you, Colin. Good to see you, everybody else in the background. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.